Today on Investigate TV Plus, for many, homeownership is a key part of the American dream. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich, but rising insurance premiums have created a nightmare for some.
It's just sad to know that I probably won't be living here for the rest of my life.
An in-depth look at why the cost is going up and the plans to potentially help homeowners.
Plus,
it took my breath. When I saw it, I fell to my knees.
The scam that cost this woman $1 million and how you can avoid the same mistake.
Then the icing on the cake, how this bakery is going beyond to warm hearts. In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
The home insurance market faces a crisis. Experts say insurance companies can't keep up with the cost of disasters,
leaving many homeowners to pay the price with rising premiums. According to a recent bank rate report, each year the average homeowner pays more than $2,200 for $300,000 in dwelling coverage.
And with no end in sight, many are asking, is property protection a worthy investment?
Investigate reporter Heather Graff has an in-depth look at why this is happening and how some are paying the price.
I don't foresee us living in this house for the rest of our lives, much as I'd like to.
Phil Goddard has lived in his Florida dream home since 2019, but he's not sure how long he and his wife Pam will be able to stay.
It's difficult, and it's something that you lie awake at night worrying about sometimes.
Following Hurricane Sally in 2020, Goddard says his homeowner's insurance premium jumped 73% to more than $4,000 annually. And today, it's even higher.
I don't have a huge income. We're living mostly on savings.
According to the Insurance Information Institute, premiums in Florida are 4 times the national average, and dramatic increases like this are being felt well beyond the Gulf Coast where Goddard lives. Rates across the country are surging, with Nebraska, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Colorado among the states with the most expensive homeowners insurance.
And it just feels like they're holding us to ransom. They're providing services that we need, and we don't have any choice but to pay whatever they make us pay.
Most lenders require homeowners insurance, but Goddard doesn't have a mortgage, so he could choose not to have it. While it's crossed his mind, he says he knows that would be dangerous, especially in hurricane-prone Florida.
How important would you say home insurance is, specifically in that state?
It's extremely important. There is a very strong likelihood that if you live here for any length of time, you will be affected by a hurricane.
Insurance Information Institute CEO Sean Kevelin says foregoing coverage can come with sizable risk.
We would recommend people going uninsured only if they have the financial wherewithal to do it. But if you don't have that capital, you can end up in a devastating place.
Even so, a 2024 survey by the Consumer Federation of America found that more than 6 million homeowners nationwide aren't insured.
The homeowners insurance market is in a crisis right now.
Douglas Heller, the organization's director of insurance, says consumers are being forced to make tough decisions, like selling their homes or stripping down their coverage, and that can come at a cost.
So even if they have insurance, when a natural disaster hits, or even a local personal house fire, we don't have the coverage we need to rebuild, even if we have some coverage.
He says the issue has been compounding for years and attributes the increase to factors including accelerating climate catastrophes, elevated inflation and rebuilding costs, and something you may not be aware of called reinsurance, which property insurance companies buy to limit their risk. In early 2024, rates for reinsurance increased by as much as 50%. Experts say this type of insurance is important because it helps protect providers' financial stability, particularly following major claims events.
We have this confluence of increasing risk associated with climate change, dramatically increasing reinsurance premiums, and for most Americans, that's turning into these huge price spikes that we're seeing.
This as insurers nationwide say they're also feeling the pinch. According to credit rating agency AM Best, in the first half of 2023, the industry recorded more than $24 billion in losses, largely attributed to natural disasters. The impact of these losses and rising costs are now leading some insurers to exit high-risk states like Florida and California.
It can't continue.
Robert Gordon is with the American Property Casualty Insurance Association, which represents approximately 65% of the marketplace.
Why are we seeing insurers reduce coverage or even pull out of some states altogether?
Well, there's an old saying, if you find yourself in a ditch, stop digging. Insurers are hemorrhaging money, and there's got to be appropriate adjustments.
He says potential solutions include mitigation efforts like clearing trees from around your house, modernizing your roof, and making home repairs. For roof upgrades, homeowners in Alabama and Louisiana can get grants of up to $10,000.
Let's try to reduce risk, because not only does that eventually lower costs, that makes us safer. It makes our communities more resilient.
Heller also supports proposed legislation aiming to create a federal reinsurance program, which would set a cap on insurers' liability in a natural disaster. That means after a certain point, the federal government and taxpayers would pick up the bill for these pricey weather events. The Insure Act would also require participating insurers to offer coverage for all such events.
Let's stabilize the insurance market for the insurance companies by creating some reinsurance options. And at the same time, let's make sure that the products consumers get are better and stronger and more affordable.
For too many, the matter could not be more urgent.
We're really putting communities across the country at risk of losing the ability to have home ownership.
Phil Goddard understands that risk all too well.
It's just so gorgeous. It's just the perfect house.
As skyrocketing rates threaten to come between him and the place he calls home.
And it's just sad to know that I probably won't be living here for the rest of my life.
As many high-risk regions contend with increasingly limited coverage, more homeowners are turning to what's called last resort insurance policies. These state-mandated plans are available to those unable to obtain private insurance. As of July 2024, Florida's insurer of last resort had about 1.2 million policyholders. Despite efforts to downsize, it's still the state's largest provider, and that has some concern. You see, in the event it becomes unable to cover its claims, Citizens Property Insurance could levy special assessments on all policyholders in the state. The U.S. Senate Budget Committee has launched an investigation questioning if that's a feasible solution. We spoke with Tim Serio, Citizens President and CEO.
To me, there seemed to be a fundamental misunderstanding of how Citizens is set up. We will pay the claims, but the problem is it's unfair to Florida policyholders. That's what we're trying to fix. But a federal bailout's not even on the table, and that should be welcome news for the Senate Budget Committee just because of the way Citizens is structured.
Adding to the frustration of many policyholders around the country, not all natural catastrophes are covered by homeowners insurance.
For example, flood damage and earthquakes aren't included in standard policies. And in Florida, a recent law passed now requires many Citizens customers to buy flood insurance, even those in non-coastal regions.
While the government created the National Flood Insurance Program in 1968 to make those policies more accessible, the program has been in the red for years. According to the Congressional Research Service, it's currently more than $20 billion in debt. So what can you do right now?
Experts we spoke to say you should shop around and see if you can lower your rate by increasing your deductible or changing exclusions in your policy.
Still ahead, a rare pregnancy complication turned what should have been the best day of this father's life into the worst.
It's excruciating how much that hurts and how hard it is to process.
Plus, the scam that cost this woman $1 million.
We called the number like on the back of our credit card. We told the lady like what was going on. When I heard her go, my soul left my body.
An in-depth look at how it works so you can avoid the same fate.
It was the most widely reported scam in 2023.
The FTC says imposter scams involve the scammer pretending to be someone they're not, such as a representative for a business or a government agency. In 2023, the FTC took in 2.6 million fraud reports, with victims typically losing $500.
A Georgia woman didn't lose $500 or $5,000 to an imposter scam. She lost $1 million.
Reporter Carly Barnett shows us how and what you need to know to keep your money and peace of mind safe.
It took my breath when I saw it. I fell to my knees. Sorry.
It's still hard for Stephanie Kelly to talk about.
It's been an exhausting year and a half.
In December of 2022, nearly $1 million was stolen from the business she and her husband started, West Metro Glass. The scammer pretended to be from Regions Bank. The act was good.
They don't know what we had sacrificed our whole lives for, or the past 12 years of our lives at that point.
She says their hard work was wiped out through 12 wire transfers out of her account, all done in less than 1 hour.
You feel so violated.
Stephanie said it all started with what looked like a bogus purchase charged to one of their corporate cards. Just as they were about to call their bank to report it, they saw the bank was calling them. She said the caller ID showed the bank's phone number. The next step was entering a PIN number into her phone to confirm her identity. She says all the prompts were just like the authentication system Regis uses on calls.
He said that he was getting that card stopped, and he would freeze the OnePass system to where no other charges could go through on it.
She thought her problem was solved, but then noticed another purchase on the card she was assured was stopped.
We called the number on the back of our credit card. We told the lady what was going on and what had been done up to that point. And when I heard her go, my soul left my body. I knew something was wrong.
Their money was gone.
Thank God we had reserve to fall back on, but I mean, a lot of companies would have just had to shut the doors.
They've been able to get back about $600,000, but are still out more than $300,000.
These are professional criminals.
Special Agent Aaron Sears with FBI Atlanta says, sadly, Stephanie is not alone.
Impersonation schemes generally are pretty common, and they've been on the rise the last couple of years. So it could be your institution, it could be another company, it could be somebody pretending to be with the federal government. If you think something's suspicious or it involves your money, always contact a trusted number, even if you think it is the bank.
We reached out to Regions Bank. A spokesperson confirmed the person who contacted Stephanie was not a bank employee. In a statement, they explained why these scams are so difficult to combat, saying, quote, once scammers get into an account because they were given a password, they can not only move money very quickly, they can also change a customer's contact information, and that hinders a bank's ability to alert the customer to suspicious transactions.
I truly, truly hope that this never happens to anyone.
Stephanie shared her story to social media. She says whether it was $100,000, $1,000, or $1 million, she wants people's money protected, and these scammers stopped.
It infuriates me that it is this easy for someone to do, with us living in the most advanced technology era of all time.
If you get a call like this, experts recommend you hang up immediately and call the number on the back of your card, or head to a branch in person. If you think you've been the victim of an imposter scam, you can report it at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Still ahead, she says doctors missed her diagnosis.
They, of course, chalked it up to you're a mother of 4 kids, you probably aren't eating right, and I was just like, no.
Why she says she's alive today and how she's helping others through a similar medical journey.
Plus,
this should never happen to anybody. The best day of your life should not quickly turn into the worst day of your life.
a new father is forced to raise his son without his mother after a rare complication during childbirth. An Arizona man is facing fatherhood alone after his wife died during the birth of their first son.
It's a rare complication, but one this dad says needs more awareness and research. Reporter Casey Torres has their story.
Josiah Ingham is holding his whole world in his arms. Baby Carter has his dad's eyes But there's a lot that comes from his mom, Courtney.
He definitely has her nose. He's got her ears, her hairline.
Josiah says as Carter grows, more of Courtney will shine through.
She brought out the best of me, and she really changed me for the better. In a lot of ways, she was my hero.
A hero he lost 2 months ago. Courtney had a healthy pregnancy until her 30-hour labor took a turn for the worse. Josiah says she started having seizures and passed away.
It's a living hell.
Dr. Kendra Gray, who specializes in maternal fetal medicine, says what caused Courtney's death is known as an amniotic fluid embolism, or AFE. That's when the liquid surrounding the baby in the womb gets into a mom's system.
And she has almost an allergic reaction to it, and that allergic reaction causes her to have breathing problems, blood pressure problems, and bleeding problems, which ultimately results in cardiac arrest.
The AFE Foundation says it's a rare complication that happens in 1 out of every 40,000 deliveries in the U.S. Dr. Gray says it's unpredictable and there's not enough research behind it.
This should never happen to anybody. The best day of your life should not quickly turn into the worst day of your life. And it's going to be so hard for my son growing up without his mother.
Josiah wants to further his wife's legacy in the form of a possible bill to get more research on AFE and bring more awareness. For now, he's pouring all of his heart to his baby boy, who will grow up feeling the love his mother had for him.
Have a little piece of her with me forever.
It's important to note amniotic fluid entering the mother's bloodstream is a normal part of the birthing process. In most people, it doesn't cause an allergic reaction, and researchers aren't sure why some people react to it this way.
Still ahead, so much love. How breast cancer survivors and their families are paying it forward to support their sisters in pink.
These smell good.
It took cake decorator Jody Hollinsworth time to get a feel for her craft.
That's a family recipe.
Starting small.
Just did things at home for the kids' birthdays, and then my friends noticed, hey, you do really good. Try this. Will you do this for us?
Which eventually led her to open the Baker's Bar in Jackson, Missouri.
It feels a little unreal to know that, I'm here now when I had no intentions of ever doing that.
Jody says she's here now because a few years earlier, when she developed strange symptoms, her instincts told her something was wrong.
They, of course, chalked it up to you're a mother of 4 kids, you probably aren't eating right, and I was just like, no. I knew the people around me who had kids, they weren't tired like I was, and I just couldn't get that through their head.
Jody says she's glad she trusted her gut. After 5 years of unexplained fatigue and weight gain, she was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer.
Jody says doctors missed it because the cancer was too deep in the tissue to be detected. As she battled the disease, her side hustle decorating cakes turned into an inspiring mission to help others on a similar path. We'll tell you more about that in a moment.
But first, we take a look at how some other survivors and their families are turning a devastating diagnosis into an inspirational new adventure to help others. In the back room of a church, Dawn Compton opens one of her blessing boxes.
Whoever gets this box, their pillow gonna be famous.
Diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018,
Hello.
she found purpose in making pillows.
12,340 boxes.
She mails the pillows directly to people fighting breast cancer.
What it does is it wraps around you like this when you come home.
Along with other items she found useful during and after her own treatment.
That helps them close those tubes in. The drains are inside.
What began as a grassroots effort has grown into a small circle of survivors, all making a big difference.
Even if they're just having a bad day, the rest of the Pink Tribe will jump in and give them blessings and prayers and help them out with their answers.
In Arizona, Lena Anderson offers survivors answers with very personal art, tattoos. Her mother had a double mastectomy and reconstructive surgery. Now most of her clients consist of similar women looking for areola and nipple restoration. Clients come from all over, like Janine, who beat breast cancer more than a decade ago. Her reconstructive surgery removed her nipples, something that always left her feeling incomplete.
It just was kind of like a shock every day, just seeing these blank things. So I thought, well, I'm going to look and see what can be done about that.
To see them walk out of here just with that glow feels unlike anything else. I never realized that I was going to be having such a major impact on someone's life.
Back at Jody Hollinsworth's bakery,
that's a family recipe.
She's whipped up something even sweeter, paying it forward to kids fighting critical illness with a nonprofit called Icing Smiles. Her organization bakes and delivers custom cakes to families like the Bowmans.
Trying to take care of all the things in this program coming along, taking care of a cost but a burden and a stress factor sometimes for people is just a really neat experience for that to happen for the family.
But there's just one ingredient missing from this story: advice from our survivors and for others facing a similar journey.
There's stages. You want to, like, first you're in fight mode, and then you're surviving, and then you get to go to thriving, and that way you can just kind of do what makes you feel good.
I see how strong I am and what I've overcame, and it's made my kids who they are today. I think, they go above and beyond for everyone still.
Such incredible women, been through so much, and they decide, you know what, we're going to try to help others who are going through similar things. Very impressive.
Yeah, no one understands what it's like to have cancer more than a survivor and their family. So
True.
They're giving back. Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Investigate TV Plus, law enforcement say a tiny device can turn an ordinary pistol into an instant machine gun.
These Glock switches is probably one of the greatest threats that law enforcement face today.
An in-depth look at the ongoing fight to get Glock switches off the streets.